Hello, my name is David, and welcome to Puckin Dirty, a podcast hosted on the 30J Sports Network. I'm David, obviously, your host here, and I have two of the most intelligent minds in my friend group here, Ryan and Matt. Shout out to them boys. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey
Was
there.
You'll have a good weekend. Rounding
Yeah,
into Tuesday here,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I think we should start off the top just talking politics. Everyone loves talking politics.
Hey, yeah, did you guys vote today? I voted today. I hope
Um,
you guys all exercise your right to ruin this country.
here,
Yeah,
stick
mine's
and approve.
upstairs. Mine's upstairs on my whiteboard. So
Yeah,
Yeah, mine I left in my car that's in the shop, broken
yeah,
down, so I couldn't get to a voting station. But
it's okay.
it's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. Just
I'll vote in the
get out of my country.
I'll vote in the presidential elections though.
That's good. You should definitely vote. If you didn't, shame on you. But we're not a politics podcast. We're a hockey podcast here.
Three
And
guys' thoughts on Roe v. Wade.
yeah, exactly. Let's get real controversial here.
Oh,
But yeah, so the first, my most and primary concern with hockey is the Penguins here, and obviously I'd like to discuss them first. You guys feel free to chime in when you want here, but I'm just gonna list off some stuff that I have gleaned over the last week since we last talked. Um, First off, Mike Sullivan became the number one coach games for the Penguins, like the coach with the most amount of games coached. It's hard to say or weird to say. He's at 519 now, and he has 301 wins, and this is including that 7 game skid that the Penguins are currently on. His win percentage is .5899, so that's pretty good. I mean, honestly, Mike Sullivan has to be one of the better coaches in the NHL right now and in Penguins history. I mean, he might be the best coach in Penn's history. In the modern NHL, he's the first coach to have a back-to-back, cup-winning team. I mean, .58 is pretty insane. I feel like that's well above the average coach here. But what I've always thought was kind of weird is how he's never won a Coach of the Year award. I mean, I think it's been 6 years since he's been the coach of the Penguins. Penguins, like even last year, they started off kind of poor. And then I thought that with Sidney Crosby and Malkin hurt for the first 20 games of the year, he definitely won it last year. And I think he was considered, but he ultimately didn't win. I don't even remember who it was. I was just pissed off last year.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
yeah,
think Daryl Sutter from the Flames won it last year.
right.
I think
I,
you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right, actually.
I'm looking it up right
Because
now. But
like
I think that's you're right.
But
I,
I agree that Mike Sullivan he needs credit as a better coach in the league.
yeah, he's
Like
one of the best.
this 7 game losing skid, and 5 of the losses have been on the road, and that's like you need to win road games to be a successful team in the modern NHL. But
True.
like 5 losses on the road, that's kind of unacceptable
I mean, 7
in a
losses
row.
in a row is unacceptable for sure. Before
Yeah.
we jump on to the losing streak, like the detail into it, I just wanted to have one other highlight thing for the Penguins, and it's Crosby becoming the sixth fastest player to reach 900 assists in the NHL. There's 5 players in front of him, 4 of them, 3 of them are Penguins. There's Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Paul Coffey, Adam Oates, and Ron Francis, and Lemieux, Coffey, and Francis all played for the Penguins, so it's kind of interesting. Out of the top 6, 4 of them were once on the Penguins. Um, yeah, I congrats to Sid. I mean, it took him 1,120 games. Took Gretzky 584. So I mean, completely different stratosphere, honestly. But obviously, rules were a little different. Teams are not as good. Players are not as good. But now we can definitely discuss the dreaded 7 game losing streak that we've had to witness here. Um, I think there's a few things that you could highlight here. One of the things I definitely have been seeing is that there's no depth scoring at all. They're just really relying on the top heavy they're the top lines, Crosby, Malkin lines, as always, it seems. Kapanen started off pretty good before this 7-game skid. I don't think he has a single point in 7 games since then. And I think this was a stat given to me by Pat, which, shout out Pat if he ever actually listens to this. In his last 50 games played, Kasperi Kapanen only has 3 goals going back to last season, which is kind of like, holy crap, like, buddy. And this guy got extended too. It's just like definitely a criticism there for Ron Hextall signing him for such a high number. I think we talked about it last week. I think it was like 3.2 or something like that. It's just definitely could have scored him cheaper just based off his own stats. I don't know why they signed him for so much.
Is Jeff Carter still on the IR?
Yeah, he's hurt. Or he's been hurt.
Yeah, I think when he comes back, that'll definitely give a bump in the offense and the third line scoring.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see him back. I think he played good with Heinen, who is another person who started off well, kind of hasn't really made an impact on the score sheet. Pens, their current like goals for and goals against, it probably changed a little bit. I think it's 42 goals for, 44 goals against, which the league average is 39 for each of those. So the Pens are scoring more goals and allowing more goals than average, and I feel like that's kind of a bad like philosophy here. I think the Pens need to tighten up defensively. You mentioned Carter. I agree. I think he'd also help tighten up the defensively. Teddy Blueberger, Josh Archibald, who has 3 goals, and I was skeptical of this guy. Last year he like got COVID, got a heart condition. I was like, man, is this guy going to be even in the league? Like, I don't know if that kind of thing would, affect him that deeply where he wouldn't be able to play. But he seems that like he's all right. I mean, 3 goals this year, that's pretty decent. I kind of viewed him as like Zach Aston Reese, who's on the Leafs right now, but maybe a little bit more offensive touch. You can actually put it in the net. So there is that.
I think Archibald played for the Oilers before.
That's correct.
Yeah, he was a big like physical presence there, if I remember correctly.
That's
And
that's why
it's
they
good
have
that
him.
he's putting the puck in the net now. Like,
He's not a huge guy, but he throws his body around, kind of one of those energy guys that you need on the 4th or 3rd line. Something that I actually thought was great, I texted Ryan about this earlier just because I needed someone to have the note, is the Pens added Philip Hollander to their active roster. He's a 22-year-old guy from Sweden, and he has like, I think, 10 points in 11 games or something like that in the AHL. I think this is something they're doing to kind of bolster up that bottom 6. I think they need to do that. Brock McGinn is another guy kind of shouted out as sucking. He hasn't been doing great. Just this team needs to find some sort of rhythm. And I haven't even talked about the defense yet. The kind of where I think most of the issue lies. Like, yeah, the Pens can win games with their top 6 just scoring, but they need depth, to continue being a winning team. You can't win every game if you shut down 2 lines. You have to have your bottom lines,
you
contribute.
need the depth, energy, and scoring to be
I mean,
continuously successful, I guess.
It kind of falls off like a cliff with scoring. Like, it's like Crosby, Malkin, Letang line is carrying it, and then like it's like 4 or 5 points, 2 goals, 1 goal, 3 goals. It's just like, it's not impressive. And this isn't even talking about the defense, where I think we're having some serious growing pains here. We overhauled like half the defense this offseason, which may or may not be a problem.
What was the thoughts behind getting rid of John Marino? I don't know if you've covered that.
I've mentioned it. I'm glad you asked, because I actually did a little bit of an more in-depth look at, not super in-depth, but John Marino, I think, we kind of gave up on him a little too early or something. I don't know why after one bad year we traded him. We could talk about Marino. So John Marino, he plays 12 games so far on a Devils team that's doing really well. They're top of the Metro, top of the league right now.
9-3, I believe the Devils are.
Yeah, you would be right. He has 1 goal, 5 points, +9 on the year. I know it's not usually like people don't like think that's a great stat, but I think if you're on the ice for 9 goals, you're preventing goals as well. And he has a right-handed shot, which I was kind of like one of the reasons why I wouldn't give up on him just yet. I feel like right-handed defensemen are kind of like a premium in the NHL. Not very many, Canadian-born players are all lefties, so there's not a lot of right-handed defensemen. So having a young right-handed defenseman on a not terrible contract, I kind of liked. I was kind of disappointed to lose him. I really did think we moved on too quickly.
Who did we get him for? Ty Smith.
Ty Smith, and a 3rd-round pick is the. So hey, Ty Smith, I could talk about a little bit here too, but I just felt like we moved on too quickly. And I mean, Dumo is someone who's been around and he's definitely taken a step back. This year is more apparent. I would have liked to see maybe stick with the youth, trade one of the older guys who really doesn't look that great right now. I don't know if you guys have watched much of the Pens live, but like the Pen, there's like the eye test in hockey, and then you can look into stats and stuff. But like the eye test for Dumo is pretty bad. Like you can see him just like reaching on pucks, just being out of position, them just passing around, and it was just like laying down, not really playing good defense in front of his net. It just kind of looks sad, and I don't know, maybe he's hurt, but this is his last year on his contract. I can't imagine the Pens like keep him beyond this year. I think he's kind of bad, honestly. And
maybe
like,
he's just going through a rough spurt, but like
I feel like he's been regressing for a few years. Like I think we might have mentioned this last pod is like he's been regressing to a point where he's a liability, and that's not good to have on a team who's trying to win Stanley Cups. So
true. I think on a rebuilding team or something, he might be a good piece in like a trade or something. But
he's probably a great veteran presence, but we have plenty of that right now. And he's like Dave said, I feel like he hasn't been that great and or healthy since the second cup.
Yeah, he definitely. That is when people started really calling him out for regressing.
Yeah,
his contract's $4.1 million. I think John Marino's might have been like 4.3.
And that could have been
commitment.
Maybe the trade like wasn't on the table for Dumo, and like it was either Marino or nothing.
Yeah, and you're probably right. I don't know if anyone would actually want, Dumo.
His
Marino's not playing well.
Marino's 4.4.
Marino 4.4. Yeah, see, it's not a terrible contract. I mean, term wise, yeah, you don't have as much freedom. Maybe they're not playing. Maybe they're playing more of a short-term game. I don't know. Maybe they want that money, but I just think Dumo is definitely a liability and not an asset anymore. So we need to start limiting his time. We have decent-ish depth. I mean, you guys mentioned Ty Smith. He's played 10 games in the AHL so far, 2 goals, 6 points. He's a left-handed shot. He played 2 years in the NHL so far. I think it was a total of maybe 108 games total, but not 2 full seasons. He played on a Devils team that was underachieving super hard. I'm not really sure what his ceiling will be. I think he was projected to be like a top 4 kind of guy, but I think he is a higher ceiling and floor than like Chad Ruhwedel, who's been playing some minutes for the Pens, and I'm not a real big fan of Ruhwedel playing that much.
I've hated Ruhwedel for so long. I think he's garbage.
I don't know what to make of him. He's been like a career Penguin either in the AHL or the NHL, I think. But it's just like he doesn't I feel like he just doesn't do anything. Like I don't know. I've seen him get beat. I've seen him look slow. I've seen him score maybe like 2 goals, and it's just like he started. That guy's like 32 years old. Riedel. It's like let's give some young guys a chance. Like what is the harm in letting Ty Smith have a shot here? Um, Ty Smith struggled in his sophomore season, but his rookie season in 48 games played, he had 23 points, 2 goals, not bad. In his sophomore year, he had 66 games played, 20 points. So there's a major like regression there, a little bit of regression, but
there's usually
honestly,
like a second year slump though for players,
and there's a lot to unpack with the Devils teams that we're playing because those teams played some really, really bad hockey.
They
The
struggled with
2021,
injuries, like
well,
Jack Hughes.
the 1 year, 2021, 20 to 2021, yeah. It was a shortened year. They went 19, 30, and 7. Ray Shero was GM. He was making plenty of trades. Uh, Taylor Hall was end up being traded. Andy Green, Wayne Simmons. Um, these are players who are good players, solid contributors. They're just losing talent. Um, Shiro was eventually fired. Tom Fitzgerald, who was like a Penn's assistant GM, became their GM, and he also continued to just remove talent the next year, like Travis Zajac and Kyle Palmieri. So I have to think some kind of turmoil there with your roster played in part to his regression. I mean, if the team's unstable, playing without veteran influence, the team's going to be affected, especially the younger guys. Um, I think the Devils actually could. This trade could end up biting them in the ass. I think they kind of diminished his value with all the problems they had in their franchise. And if I think the Penguins manage him well, I think they could really be an effective maybe bottom 4 guy who sits around for a while. He's a young guy, and I would really love to see some of our young guys start to succeed. Yeah, but who knows? I think there has to be some cap gymnastics to really fit him. I think that's why he's not on the team yet. But I guess we'll see pretty soon here. Do you hear my dogs barking, by the way?
Yeah.
Not great. Probably Kai at the door. My last really note here. I mean, on the Penguins. Actually, before I get that, Matheson, I wanted to mention. He was another guy we traded for Jeff Petrie. Jeff Petrie, I really don't. He's been playing bad. He's been playing so bad that Marcus Peterson is now on the first pair with Letang. So it's getting pretty dark here. In Penguins for their D.
That sucks.
Yeah,
I had high hopes for him. I mean, it's still kind of early. He can still. But...
Definitely. And Matheson hasn't played a game yet because of I think he had some kind of ankle surgery or something. But I mean, so far, I feel like that trade's kind of more even. Petrie definitely. I mean, can he get any worse? Like at this point, he's been playing bad. He has to start getting better at some point. So just regressing back to the mean, going upwards.
He was also like Petrie. I think he fits better as like a second pairing defenseman. And Letang was out for a couple games there, and he had to fulfill that first line role. And I don't think he had what it took to like do that, and that was like exposed as a Penguins flaw.
Yeah, the Penguins defense though has just been so bad, and he's definitely been a part of why. Like you're right. He's been a part of why it sucked, just being exposed to stuff he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The Penguins next play Washington. They just beat the Washington Capitals. Just beat the Oilers 5-4. I mean, this is pretty close to a must-win game, I'd say, in hockey. Caps are kind of struggling out the gate here too. I think the team needs to learn how to play with the lead, play a little bit tighter defensively, make teams fight to get in the scoring areas. Like one of the things I have a critique of Dumo is that he gets worked and out-bodied in front of our net. Kind of a big issue if you're, big stay-at-home defenseman. I'd like to see more of a defensive game than these like scoring races. Like, yeah, they're exciting, but to be honest, that's how we lost a few of these games. Like Boston ended up outscoring us because we couldn't play defense, and I mean they're a lethal offensive team. We might not be the most lethal offensive team anymore. Kind of got to play a better game, you know. So, Matt, you said you had something about the Blue Jackets you want to mention?
Oh man,
Before
at least you guys aren't Jackets fans. That's all I gotta say. Like, they have 6 points right now. They're looking bad. I don't think having Zach Werenski play 25 plus minutes a game like he's averaging is sustainable. And they need like help in the D end as well, just like the Penguins. But the thing is, the Jackets don't score goals either. And Patrick Laine has been kind of underperforming. For goals for, they're 30th in the league, and goals against,
Jeez.
they're 31st. So like
Jeez.
they're just
They're
a
awful.
mess right now. They need like a coaching change possibly, or just like a complete dumpster fire of a rebuild.
I mean,
Well,
I'd argue
brother.
that this is what should be expected too. Would you say, Ryan?
Little brother.
Little brother. I mean, they are the Pens' little brother. It does feel that way.
But like, if we get Connor Bedard, I'd be pumped.
I mean, maybe that's the long con. Maybe they told Gaudreau to just suck, so they don't have. You can get Bedard and he can play with him.
Is Bedard a center or a wing?
Fuck, I don't know.
I don't know either. I hope he's a center because
The
like
third
that's
generational
what the
talent
Jackets
are usually
need.
centers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's center, but I don't know.
His name?
Connor Bedard. I just think like I'm not surprised that Columbus is bad, but I'm surprised they're this bad. Like,
Yeah, they have 6 points in 12 games. Like, there's no way they're getting 40 wins. Like, I went out on a limb and said the other week.
yes, yeah, Dunkel
He's a center.
He's a center.
Is it
Yeah.
center? Okay, cool.
He's a right-handed center.
A center is exactly what the Jackets need. Like,
Jackets
I hope
need a lot. I mean,
and
yeah, they're
defensive
not very
help,
good.
maybe a goalie. I don't know what's going on with Elvis. Like, I was hoping he was a generational talent, hyped up to be, but the defense in front of him kind of got traded or didn't sign back, and now he's left out to dry way too much.
Yeah, I mean that definitely could shatter a young goalie's confidence, just getting left out to dry. For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely like detrimental to your psyche at least. I mean, are you surprised to see the Jackets this bad? I mean, like
Yeah,
we knew
yeah.
they were gonna be bad. You were kind of high up on them, but like
I had my
take
Homer
the Homer
blinders
glasses
up.
off.
Yeah,
Like the roster just isn't very
I think
impressive.
the Jackets, like, their success this year has surprised me to the point that it's upsetting being a fan right now.
I would definitely agree with you. I mean, I'm disappointed with the Penguins, but I'm going to also talk about my second team, the Panthers here, who I'm slightly less disappointed. If you're done on your Jackets.
Yeah, I like the way Boone Jenner's playing and Zach Werenski, and then that's like about it for the Jackets and Gaudreau. But
I think
like
last
other than
pod
those three, like I'm done talking about the Jackets. Basically,
I'll leave you up with this. I think last pod we mentioned some people who are underperforming, and Laine was my choice. I just think I don't know. I've been harping on him all season so far. I think he's just not as good as he once was supposed to be.
Yeah,
maybe playing with Torts ruined him. Maybe he just wasn't that good in the first place.
Maybe that's why it was 2 players for 1 in the trade, because he wasn't up to like Dubois.
That's fair. Yeah, that's pretty fair.
But
I have like just a little thing on the Panthers. I was watching the Coyotes' first home win at Mullet Arena, which was against the Panthers. They won 3-1, and I just was like started to think, I'm like what's going on with the Panthers as well? Like last year they started 10-0-1. This year they start 7-5-1. Like I would look back at their games, they're winning one, they're dropping one, winning one, dropping one, losing the teams that they should probably beat. They lost to the Kings, the Coyotes, the Flyers, the Blackhawks, Lightning, Bruins. I mean, some of them maybe not, but
I think the
at least
Kings are
three of them.
decent. Yeah.
At least
But
three of them. I'd say Coyotes, Flyers, Blackhawks. They should beat them.
agreed.
I think part of the reason they're not is scoring as well. Their second line is kind of snake bitten. They've not been scoring at all. However, they did. I think it was Anaheim last night. They started scoring actually. Sam Bennett and Sam Reinhart. They before those games had 0 goals, like 3 and 4 assists each. Not really that good to start the season. Not for the second line. That's for sure. Sam Reinhart scored 2 goals versus Anaheim. That's it. And Sam Bennett also scores well. And I think if they can actually reach the potential they have, they're pretty good. Both of them are probably like 40, 50, 60 if they're lucky, goal like point scorers. So maybe that's also the issue. They're relying on wrong guys. It's just I would like to see more from them. And 2 other guys I have here that I want to see more is Eric and Mark Stahl. They're both old now, like 38-ish old. Like that's pretty old for the NHL. And they just kind of don't pass the eye test that I have for players as well. Mark Stahl is just tall and he's slow. Like I maybe their veteran presence is important, but I feel like playing Mark Stahl on defense is just bad. And like
Might be like a liability to put him back there.
yeah, like I like similar to Dumo, but not as bad. Dumo is better for sure, or not as good, I should say. Um, I think that there might need to be an alternative. I don't know. They're so cash strapped. I don't even know how they're going to manage to pull off a trade. Um, and like, I just it's upsetting. I mean, Duclair being hurt last, I think it might have been the last series or I think it was in playoffs. He hurt his Achilles, and just like when he comes back, I think they'll add some more consistency. But by then, it's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Like I think he was due for like mid-year, and by then you could be out of playoffs. Um, the I wanted to also mention like to Chuck, like I thought he was playing pretty well. He got suspended on some boneheaded ass play. He like stuck his blade into Jonathan Quick's mask on purpose. It was pretty stupid. Deserves the 2 games that he got. But I mean, I think he's been playing his build. I think he's scoring how he should be, how he was with the Flames. I think he's really has the least amount to blame. Injuries and cap are really the problem. Like Mason Marchman, he's on the Stars now. He was one of those young guys that I think he was homegrown. I'm not sure. I thought he was not really an NHL player too much, or at least didn't play very much before that season. But losing him sucked. I mean, he was a good depth guy that they had. They just couldn't match what the Stars offered him. Like Ekblad's hurt. I mean, you look at their defensive core. It's Forsling, Montour on the first line, Mahora, Gudas on the second line, Stahl and Lucas Carlson on the third line or third pair. Just like
They need some defense help too.
Yeah, who the hell are these guys? Like Forsling and Montour, I think are pretty good, but like they're not the first pair good. I mean, you could argue that like I don't even really know who this Lucas Carlson guy is, and I follow them kind of regularly, so it just goes to show like who
like Radko Gudas on the second line, like that is kind of risky. Like I see him more as like a third line pairing guy.
I'd agree, and it's just because like you want to shelter players from playing against the good players, like, especially the ones who were not that great. And he's kind of old now too, Gudas. So
I think he plays a consistent like physical game though.
Yes, he does. He looks like a caveman, to be honest. Have you ever seen him?
Yeah,
It's kind of
I've
scary
seen
looking.
a picture of him. He looks like a beast. I'd be afraid to run into him in the wrong area.
Yeah, exactly. On the train tracks.
Down at the
Um,
tracks.
yeah. Like
Matt's always hanging around dark alleys and train tracks.
No, I swear. Hanging around the suburbs.
suburbs. Yeah, that's true for us, most of us. Um, I think that this Bob Roski kind of prevents them from being any sort of playoff competent. Like, how do you justify paying like $10 million a season to someone that doesn't even play all 82 games?
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. Like,
Yeah,
I'm glad the Jackets didn't sign Bob, but like,
yeah,
they Florida has more wins, so does it really
yeah.
matter?
I mean, ultimately, it's probably a good long-term move. I think Bob Roski, that whole deal kind of when I saw that, I just like face palm. It was like, oh my god, why does it have to be the Panthers that signed them to that long, like 8 years, $10 million each year? I was like, oh Jesus, this is rough.
The Panthers, though, like they have some work to do, and the Atlantic has definitely taken steps to improve with like Detroit and Buffalo being on hot streaks right now, and then Tampa Bay, they're slumping a little bit. Boston is gonna just be good all year, I have a feeling. And who am I forgetting? The Maple Leafs? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, and a couple of other teams in there that could like make a move, but Florida needs to like get their shit together fast, basically.
yeah. And my last thing on the Panthers here is the Giroux trade, where they sent Owen Tippett a 2004 or sorry 2024 or 2025, one of those two picks, and a 2023 third round pick. So they gave up a great player, a first round pick, and a third round pick for Giroux just to be bounced in the second round. And Giroux's no longer on their team. So that's when, that's a like, I don't want to say overpay, but like that is like keep your assets a little better, like manage them
Yeah,
better than splurging on Claude Giroux. I like that team was not Claude Giroux away from winning a Stanley Cup last year. He definitely helped, but they they could have definitely spent the money or assets in a better way. Um, Moving on, Matt, you mentioned some teams that are off the hot starts. I got three teams that are off the hot starts that I like watching them play right now. Is the Bruins, the Golden
okay.
Knights, and the Devils. I think we mentioned all of them. Um, what do you got on these teams? What's your
The
read?
Bruins, like I don't know, like what I was thinking, not putting them in my top three for
Yeah,
the
I like the
Atlantic.
Bruins.
Like they're solid. They have that line of like unstoppability, if that's even a word.
I
But
think it's
like,
they call it the something line, the perfect line,
yeah, something like that. But
something
like
like that. They have a name
Pasternak,
for it.
Marchand, and Bergeron, right?
I think it might be perfection line, but
Yeah, perfection line. That's what they were calling it the night against the Pens, I think.
fuck them.
Yeah, that's sorry to bring that up, but that's the only
That's all
Bruins
right.
game I've caught recently, and they looked really good in that. But New Jersey and Vegas, like what are your thoughts on those two hot teams, I guess?
I like Vegas. I think Vegas is one of the better teams in the league. They spend on every shiny new toy. I drafted Jack Eichel for a reason in fantasy hockey, which we'll get to later. Fantasy hockey, uh, but I drafted him for a reason. I really kind of believed in this team that they're a good team. I kind of hate how they manage the players and kind of spend like the throwaway culture of America. Like oh, I want the new thing, throw away my old thing. I mean, it's how it feels, at least to the players. Like they just ditch like match packs already. He's gone already. Uh, I didn't like how they just managed some of their players. I'm blanking on some other guys. I didn't like how they did to
Alex
them.
Tuch.
Oh, Flurry.
Oh yeah,
Like
duh.
how they fucked Flurry over. Like Robin Lehner, I feel like there's been some odds, but it's just like I don't like them as an organization, but I like the players on their team. Like I think they're definitely a shot to win, cup here. If they continue to play this well, I'm surprised how good their goaltending is, given it's like Logan Thompson and some other dude. I'm not really sure.
Logan Thompson has been on fire though. Like
Yeah, and
6
I picked him
wins.
up. I picked him
Yeah.
up last year when Robin Lehner got hurt, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's actually pretty good. Like, got to stash him. I don't have him this year, but yeah. The last team was the Devils, and Devils are interesting. I like their team. I really didn't think they were this good. Um, do you have anyone on fantasy, Matt? Who you thinking about? You mentioned them a little earlier.
Devils, I just think like they got a lot of young talent right now, and then Dougie Hamilton's their key defenseman, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah,
like
he's playing on their team.
like he's solid and he's a good defensive player to build around. Jack Hughes and like his group of forwards all look like really good. And John Marino, like I got into a big conversation with Hein last night. Shout out to Hein. And he was saying how like he thought the Devils got the better end of that deal with Marino, and it like boosted their decor to the point where like they're not letting in cheap ones anymore, and they just like are winning games, I guess.
I mean, yeah, they're Jesper Bratt is
Just for Brat,
playing
yeah.
out of his mind. Like, I think he's been playing in the league for 6 years, and now out of fifth year last year, he's like a point per game now. It's like, whoa. He has 17 points right now.
Yeah,
Um,
that brought me to like a note that I have. Surprises in the top 20 goal scorers. Jesper Bratt was one of them that I
Goal
wrote
scorers
down.
or point
Or
scorers?
point scorers. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
but
no
like
worries.
he has 17, like you said. He's been a big part of that Devils offense, and
And
there's
he's
more surprises in the point scoring. I have like 5 people written down, but we could get to that later.
sure. I mean, feel free to just. I mean, this is kind of like players, teams off the hot start. So feel free. We can discuss anything. I have after this. I was going to talk about teams that are off the bad start. So
Well, we
just
talked about 3 teams. I wanted to mention the team at the top of the Central as well, the Dallas Stars. And like they've been looking pretty good. And like Jamie Benn, he got into an altercation the other night. There's a
yeah.
pretty funny video out there, and I'm glad he's like doing well this year and is on a winning team. I know that Jason Robertson is one of their leading scorers. That brings me to another surprise in the top 20 scoring point leaders. Rupe Hintz, he has 16 points right now, and he's up there in the scoring race. Well, there's like 4 guys that lead the scoring race, like McDavid,
Yeah,
Draisaitl,
Todd.
the
Yeah, McDavid and Draisaitl are
usual
insane.
guys.
There's like
But
I saw a thing today. 13 games in, they have combined 52 points. Like that's
it,
fucking insane.
they're unstoppable.
I mean, that's just incredible.
But Dallas Stars, like, what do you think of the Stars, Dave?
So I actually last week we did power rankings, and I did another one. I'll kind of just reference it, and I did have them in my top bracket now. Last week I had them in the playoffs. This week I have them in the elite bracket. I think we talked about it a little bit. If Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin are contributing, this team is going to be really good. I mean, their decor decent. Their forward core, like you mentioned, what's his name, Rupee Hintz and Jason Robinson, right?
Yeah,
And it's just like these young guys are coming in, making an impact. It's impressive. I like them. I like Ottinger as well, although I think he's been
I
hurt.
think he just went down with an injury.
Yeah. Blackwood, who they traded for last year, he's been stepping up. It's good to see. I like Dallas. I think Texas should definitely do hockey, so to speak. Uh, I would like to see another team in Dallas, or not Dallas, in Texas, but
Maybe like
about that a little.
Houston.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. But like I think the guy's name was Niels Lundqvist. He came from the Rangers. He's been pretty decent for the Stars. Miro Heiskanen,
Heiskanen.
Colin Miller, like these guys, pretty like Colin Miller's a vet. I think he played on the Sabres maybe at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and Ryan Suter. It's just like this team's well built. Isla Lindell, Hajipani, or whatever his name is.
Hakanpää.
Hakanpää, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're a legit team.
Hakanpää was a fantasy favorite of mine last season.
Yeah, he's big boy, right? Some hits.
Yeah.
Big boy.
But some other like top 20 scorers that are surprising to me, like in the 15-point range. Dominic Kubalik on the Red Wings, and Hyman, who I forget what team he's on.
He's on the Oilers.
Oilers, yeah, and that
He's
makes
the one
sense
who
because he's
fought
playing Zach
David.
Hyman. Yeah. Like, he's playing with McDavid and Draisaitl, so he'll get his points.
Exactly.
And then Martin Necas on the Hurricanes.
Necas, yeah.
Yeah, and Troy Terry, I think he's been a stud. I think I talked about him on the first podcast. He's scoring goals for the Anaheim Ducks. He's a beast.
Who did you mention like 3 ago? I feel like I had something to talk about one of these players.
Kubalik.
Oh, yes. So Kubalik, yes, he started off, I think, 12 points in 7 games or something like that, and he's cooled off. His stock is definitely trending down if you're going to put it in those terms. So I'd like to see him score more. He definitely is on a good Detroit team. I mean, they're kind of surprising people as well. I don't know if you consider them one of the hot teams since they're kind of in the middle. They're actually losing 2-1 right now.
Yeah, to the Canadiens.
Yeah, so it's just for them, for the Red Wings, I always feel like it's what team are you going to get? Are you going to get the good version of them that can play well, or are you going to get this team that can't defend at all in their own zone? It's like, what the hell? This team's butt.
Yeah, it's hit or miss with the Wings.
For sure. So I mean, that was some of the hot teams. If you want to, I'm going to mention some bad.
I've one hot team.
Go. Oh, I think I know who it's going to be.
A team that just came off a 3-game road trip and won all 3 games. The Seattle Kraken. It depends. No, but I mean, yeah, the Kraken are starting off pretty good now. I think they're second in the Pacific right now. Like Jaden Swartz has like 10 points. I'm looking up right now. Jaden Swartz has 10 points leading the team. He's been playing really good. Tatum's in the top 4 for scoring there. Yeah, I mean, they've been playing great. Matty Beniers, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
He's up there too. So, I'm going to Kraken.
Beniers might win Rookie of the Year. I think that was my pick.
I'm glad you mentioned them because I kind of thought they were pretty impressive as well. I think one thing that's different that they're from this year to last year, yes, the young guys have gotten a little better, but their goaltending is actually doing something. I think his name not Peter Grubauer. I don't know his first name.
Grubauer, is he hurt or is he playing? Because
he's hurt. He's been hurt.
I was gonna say
so much. Martin Jones is in the net right now for them.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. It's Philippe Grubauer, who I knew Grubauer. Then Martin Jones I know too, but yeah, Jones been playing way more.
Jones been playing well, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers now. I haven't really realized it. Yeah, he's doing really good.
Start of the year he sucked. This he's doing well right now. I have him on my fantasy team too. But I kind of I never thought he was very good. I kind of think he might just be playing hot right now. Maybe like 4 years ago he was good when we like beat him in the Cup Finals. But I mean, hey, maybe you just need like to be doubted, and then what the hell did Geno Smith? They called me, but I didn't call back or whatever.
They wrote me off, but I didn't write back.
So I mean, hey, some people need that adversity to really light a fire and get going. And for his sake and the Kraken's sake and my team's sake, my fantasy team, most importantly, I hope he does well, and I hope Seattle does well. I feel like we've been pumping their tires in this pod, and it's not just because it's one of your teams. Like, I feel like I kind of switched allegiances in the West to them
I think you're becoming a crackhead. I think you've been
Yeah.
hitting smack too hard.
You
I
shared
think
the
you're becoming a
crack.
crackhead.
You shared it, and now I can't get enough of it.
Take
You
a
gave
puff.
me a little
Take a puff.
taste. You gave me a little taste.
Yeah, not to talk about Mother Pub, but that's what me and Guy always do with the Falcons. They're a crackhead team in the NFL where we always want to bet them and stuff, and we always get trapped in the crackhead loop. But the crackheads in the NHL are they're it's a good kind of crack. It's hitting hard. It's hitting good.
Yeah, they are looking good, and I would definitely not mind seeing them do well. They're on a 4-game winning streak, and they beat the Penguins twice in that win streak. So
yeah,
Penguins can't say shit to them at this point
at all. I got invited to that game. I couldn't go though. It sucks.
That does suck. I need to make it out to a Pens game pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think my
Playing
family
the
has
Preds
like that.
tonight.
What's up?
The Crackers are playing the Preds tonight. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw that. I have it pulled up on 10 o'clock. But my parents have a season ticket thing, and I haven't gone to a Pens game in a while. I think 20th is the next game that we might be able to go to. But I'll talk to you guys about that after, because I was thinking about maybe tailgating a Pens game here.
Tailgate? I never tailgated a hockey game. It'd be sweet.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll get into details maybe about that later. Maybe we shouldn't publish everything on the pod, but I think it could be fun.
Yeah, I would.
So, talked about the Pens, talked about Panthers, teams off to hot starts, teams off to bad starts. I mean, I don't really want to harp anymore on the Penguins, but they look awful.
I don't want to harp anymore on the Blue Jackets. They look awful.
Teams that were expected to do well, Penguins were definitely one of them that are off to a bad start. I mean, they're really, like, we mentioned the scoring, the defense. The special teams are also bad. Their PK is 26th with 73.2. The power play is 19th with 20%. And typically with those two stats, you're looking at, kind of part of a fraction. You want to get to 100%, with adding those two numbers together. 100% is kind of like, your team's all right on special teams, you're passing. Like 110 is like elite. Penguins are at, what's that, 93%? That's bad. I mean, Teddy Bluger is definitely part of the reasons their PK is bad, but yeah, Pens don't want to harp too much on them. They're not playing well this season. At least to start. I got 4 teams that I want to mention. First, Ottawa Senators. They're 4-7. I kind of thought they were better than this. I'm not really sure what their exact deal is with why they're doing so poorly.
Cam Talbot, maybe.
I was gonna say at the start of the season, I thought their goaltending was suspect.
He was
their
hurt.
Defense is a little suspect as well.
Cam Talbot is just coming off injury, so I think that'll give a boost to the goaltending for the Senators.
Yeah. Like they had Anton Forsberg and Magnus Hellberg, like Berg and Berg Associates or something. I don't know what the fuck they're doing in the goaltender, but they're not great team or player for goalies. I mean, they're young as well, or at least they were actually. No, they're 29 and 31. Holy shit, I'm wrong. I don't know why. I don't know why they started the season with this team or these players. They kind of suck. But I mean, we got to mention for them Josh Norris being hurt. Apparently, his injury's not as bad. Maybe, I don't know, but he's definitely a reason why they're probably 4-7, or they are 4-7. Definitely want to mention the Blues, who have lost, I think, 6 in a row. They're probably maybe 7. I can't even remember. They're also one of the worst teams in the league. Like, just statistically, they're just bad.
They are last in the league in goals for, and they've only scored 22 goals this whole season.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely, I don't want to say I called it, but I was down on them this year. I never really thought they were a great team. I think they're kind of past their prime, and you'll hear hockey like heads mention, oh, they were in December or the year they won the cup, they were, in last place. It's like, well, yeah, but that was kind of a fluke, and you don't strive to be in last place so you can go ahead and win the Stanley Cup. It's not like NHL 2022 or whatever the fuck it is now. Like, if you're that deep, you're probably not a good team. And at this
You
point,
just got hot at the right time.
I mean, yeah, and at this point, like, maybe they should consider selling, like trading, like Ryan O'Reilly or Tarasenko, or I don't know. Like, I don't think they go up from here. I still think they are a middle of the pack at best team.
They'll be interesting to watch at the trade deadline for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if they add, I think they're insane at this point. They're 3-7. They match the Pens, by the way, with their losing streak here. Other team, next team, Predators. They're 5-6-1. They're kind of starting to gain some traction, so they might not even deserve to be on this list. But I was kind of worried for them at one point. I don't think they are a bad team. In my power ranking, I had them decently high. Last week I had them in bad. This year I have them last week I have them in bad. This week I have them in like the fringe. So I mean, I think they're gaining traction, build some wins. Saros has been mediocre to start the season, so I'm expecting he'll correct that. You got anything on the Preds, Matt? They're in the Central, so
not really, honestly. Like I haven't seen a Predators game since that opening night.
Yeah, those games were entertaining as well. My last team was the Capitals, who kind of had a statement win against the Oilers last night. I mean, Capitals literally did not move on my power rankings. I think they're a middle of the pack team. I think they're old. I think they're less skilled than the Pens, less able than the Pens. I would be surprised if they make playoffs still.
I think their playoffs rely on when their guys come off the injury reserve.
Yeah, and they're missing like Brett Backstrom for a long time, so it's like if you're in a hole and those gut players come back, it's going to be tough.
Ovechkin was a monster last night in that Oilers game, though. He had this one almost highlight reel goal where he like went through like two defensemen and stopped and turned around and shot it, but the goalie made the save, Skinner. And
yeah, Scott Skinner or Stewart or whatever.
Stewart. Ovi had a pretty big game last night.
You see his assist? He put it between his legs in front of the goalie, and I don't remember who finished it, but I was like, oh.
Yeah,
that is one of the reasons it's hard to doubt the Capitals because of Ovi. I mean, a captain's drive to win can, inspire the team to do pretty well, I think. But I don't know.
I'd agree they're middle of the pack for sure.
Yeah, I'm not quite a believer yet for them. I was gonna do my power rankings. Do I have to share my screen? Should I'll do that.
Yeah, share screen on the bottom. It'll be on the video too.
Okay. Do you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I put in the Seattle picture this time, Ryan, so no bias here. Last week was the bottom one.
You can't forget like last time.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh shit, I meant to totally do this. But as you see, I have the Bedard sweepstakes. I kind of updated them. This week's up top. From left to right is kind of my order. Like, if you're in the first column, you're kind of one of the better teams in the bracket. Bedard sweepstakes, yeah, not much change. I think these four teams, now that the Columbus wants to punch their ticket to the Shitsville here with how they've been playing.
Yeah, seriously. I can't even defend them right now.
It's hard. It sucks. It definitely sucks. Your team added in the offseason one of the best free agents, and it doesn't really move the needle. It's like, I don't know.
It's a big moment.
I mean, would you disagree with any of these ones? Like, I think the Ducks won a single game. They kind of look bad.
I think it might be a little early to say the Devils are a playoff team. even though they're in first place. I know it might sound crazy.
That's fair.
But
I think one of the things we highlighted though, proves they will be, is that their defense is good, which a lot of these teams are not. But we'll get to the Devils. I'm gonna go up the level here.
Okay.
In bad, Blues, Sharks, Canadians, Senators, Vancouver. Not much change there. I think these teams suck. I think these teams are missing major components or need to just finally commit to the what you call it, the rebuild. I will say on the Sharks, Erik Karlsson is out to an amazing start. Actually, a record-breaking start. So I have a little thing here. The last time, so he's played 13, 14 games. I'm not sure right now. One of those two. The last time a defenseman had 10 plus goals in 13 games to start the season. So, do you know the last time it was done? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't this century.
Well, that narrows it down. Only like 100+ years to work with.
Yeah. So,
could you give me a decade?
It was in the 30s.
Okay, I have no idea.
Yeah. So,
it should be in like 90s.
1937, 1938 season. George's, I think. I think it might be a French name. Might be saying it wrong. Mantha. He played for the Montreal Canadiens. He had 10 goals in 11 games. He finished that season 47 games played, 23 goals, 19 assists, 42 points. Kind of weird. I was just like, what a weird stat to pull up. Like, this dude from the 30s also did this. But I also saw on I was like doing some digging on this. He was also a left wing, so I don't know if that really counts. I feel like that kind of takes away from the mystique of it if he was also a forward.
I mean, Erik Karlsson, the way he's produced throughout his career, could arguably be a forward.
Yeah, so let's have a little Karlsson talk. So I do have some stuff just to jump from one thing to the other, the power ranking. But Karlsson, I did want to speak on, like, 14 games played, 19 points, 22% shooting. He's an all-star player. He's been regressing recently. San Jose has looked bad since they won the cup. I mean, I liked him. I always thought he was one of the best defensemen. I felt like his time in San Jose has just been marred by underperformance and just a team that is past their prime and is trying to, like, just claim something, but they're just not very good. One of the weirder things I kind of remember with Karlsson was one of the injuries he had when, I don't know if you guys remember this, in, like, I don't know what year, but Matt Cook slicing his Achilles. Do you remember that when he was on the Senators?
I totally forgot about it, but that just like unlocked a memory in my head I forgot about.
I thought that was one of the more interesting things that happened with the Pens and him, and it's interesting in a bad way, where Matt Cook definitely intentionally or not sliced his Achilles, and that couldn't have been easy. Yeah. I don't know how many Norris trophies he's won. Matt, you might know a little bit more about Karlsson, but
Karlsson, I just think that he's picking up like slack now that Brent Burns isn't there anymore, and that's why he's like contributing way more points this year.
True. Maybe there's less mouths to feed on the blue line. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Interesting.
Because Burns is on the Hurricanes now, right?
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. He's a tank. Like he's a big dude, and taking him away from Karlsson's pair gives Karlsson that much more of an opportunity to produce.
Real quick, he has 2 Norris trophies.
2, yeah. So I mean, like Matt said, he could be a forward. Like, if you're winning those consistently, you're skilled at both sides of the game. But to jump back to the power rankings here, I got also I went through the bad teams. I mean, I don't have much to say on them really. One of the actually, did I do this backwards? Wait, no. Okay, I might have. I actually think I meant to put LA in playoffs, but they could be arguably in fringe as well. I think they're one of the better teams in the Pacific. I think they're kind of underperforming. I think they could maybe get a goalie and really be competitive. I mean, I moved the Pens back. You see the Pens in there now. The Flames, Predators are trending up. It's just trying to be reactionary, but not too reactionary. I don't think the Pens can go below fringe. Or some teams I don't think can go below fringe.
I think Flames and Kings are also shouldn't go below fringe, and maybe like Blues can move up to fringe depending on how the season rolls on. But like,
I have the up here them in the playoffs, and I totally think I meant to put them up here in playoffs because I don't think that they're a fringe team. I do think they're playoffs, but that might just be an error on my part. A team that is rising in the ranks here, definitely Seattle. I think they could be a playoff team. I kind of organized this in a way where I saw that. Yeah. So this is like I think 15 teams up here. I tried to get it as even as I could with East and West, but I just feel like they're one of those teams that are up there right now. They're playing well for sure. I know, Matt, you said you don't think the Devils should be in the playoffs. Do you have a strong reason why you think that? Or
I mean, I think they're kind of like a hot team at the moment, but like they still have a long season, and we'll see if the youth on the roster can hold up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I looked at their roster a little bit when we were talking here. They have a lot of depth scoring. Like their fourth line has like 8 points already, like each, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so like I could see them being a playoff team if that holds up for sure. But like
exactly.
With the time will tell.
For sure. And I mean, some of the teams that they're competing with for playoff spots are also kind of rising in the ranks here. The Devils, the Islanders, Tampa, or not. I mean, I guess they kind of are, but definitely something to watch. I like watching these teams rise and fall. Like I said, this is a power ranking, so it's supposed to be a little more reactionary. If a team wins 3 in a row or something, they're going to get a bigger bump than a team that wins, whatever. Yeah. I have like a more serious topic, Matt. But if you want to talk about, I'll save that for close to when we're last. If you got anything exciting you want to mention, I know you're saying you have a few things. Anything you haven't touched on?
Hockey related?
Sure. Yeah, we'll have stuff at the.
No, politics related.
Oh, politics related? I got nothing.
If you got nothing.
No, I fantasy purposes, like I don't know.
After this, I got you fantasy.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay,
basically.
So one of the prevailing stories that has happened over this last weekend was Mitchell Miller. He was a forward that was signed by the Bruins, and that's putting it very lightly. This guy was a 4th-round pick by Arizona in 2020 until they relinquished his draft rights after a story was published about how he and another classmate were convicted of assaulting and bullying a black kid that was developmentally disabled. This black kid, his name is Isaiah Myers Crothers. He's the son of adopted parents. He was 14. These kids were 14 years old when this happened. Bruins, I don't know what they were thinking here signing this guy. I kind of peeked into the story more because, this is unusual. You don't really hear this too much in getting to the NHL. I can't unshare my screen. I'm sorry. Confirm, stop sharing. Yeah. Mitchell Miller. His mom said that. So Isaiah's mom said that Mitchell had recently apologized to Isaiah via Snapchat. She said, quote, "When Mitchell Snapchatted my son a week and a half ago, he apologized and said, 'It has nothing to do with hockey.' Well, it has everything to do with hockey." End quote. And my take on this whole situation is that it's honestly kind of a tough scene.
I found this on the
Oh
web.
my God, my phone or my watch. I'm glad I don't have to make any rulings on this because it's really not an easy choice. I guess racism is wrong and abusing people is wrong, but defining someone by something they did when they 14 is not very, accurate of their present day character. This was 7 years ago. Um, did I make mistakes when I was 14? Yeah, but my mistakes weren't as severe as this kid. And like at 14, that abusing someone and calling them racist names and stuff is wrong. And like these actions are wrong. And I definitely condemn anything this guy said and did to Isaiah. Um, what would it take for him to play in the league? Maybe to be forgiven by Isaiah publicly or something. Um, I do feel people can be, like fixed in a way. I don't think fix is the right word, but I think people can be forgiven if they're sincere about their intentions and actions. And I feel like the little tidbit the mom gave about, oh, he apologized on Snapchat, and oh, this is totally not about hockey. I feel like that definitely proves this kid is not to that level of maturity. I
Yeah,
feel like
like
if you want to solve this problem, you're like, hey, meet you, your mom, my mom, whatever. Let's meet and let's talk. Like you can go to as many like human resource classes, wherever. Like you could just coast through those. Like true change and true action. I think and showing sincerity would be the only way this guy could ever play in the NHL. I'm not sure what you guys got any takes on this? I mean, I feel like
Um,
it's kind of cut and dry, but maybe not.
yeah, I mean, I think I heard that some of the people in the Bruins organization said that he's still like kind of like a shit person. Like I heard
Yeah,
he's not like the best coming from like some players inside the organization, from what I read. So like it's like yeah he might change where he's not gonna publicly like shame a mentally disabled minority, but
yeah,
like he's still kind of that person inside. It seems like from what I'm hearing, and like you're saying, like he's people from 14 change, but I credit that to more to like if you tweet something bad back when you're 14, like that one quarterback coming out of wherever college did. I could see that argument for more for that than like bullying a mentally disabled person
I mean, it's
like when
just
you're 14.
wrong.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like
it's just not a cool. Not I mean, cool isn't even the right word. It's just not an acceptable action. Um,
also I like me personally I believe in like a second chance for people, but like if he's not showing maturity changes like you guys are saying, like he shouldn't have like the
it's a
chance
privilege, not a
yeah
right.
the privilege, that's what I was the word I was looking for, to play in the
Yeah,
NHL. Like maybe like I don't know if he's in like a minor league, make him work his way back into the NHL or something, but like
yeah, that's a good question.
you can't roster this kid like if he hasn't made
And
serious repercussions for his actions, you know?
and yeah, I mean, like to be fair, the Bruins actually did release him. I think it was Monday, yesterday, uh, 2 days ago, maybe by people who actually are listening to this, but just like yeah, like his actions are wrong. If he's not showing true remorse or anything, sorry, bud. I mean, not every shitbag gets what they want, and I definitely think nowadays, if it, like especially where like you could be publicly shamed pretty easily. I just don't think this guy really should be playing in the NHL. I think he should count his blessings. He's not getting like beat up on the streets or something. You know.
Real quick, I just went back and watched the video that I heard about it, and it was Patrice Bergeron came out and said he's an asshole, and then a bunch
Whoa.
of other like people in the Bruins locker room said the same thing.
Oh shit.
That's
Patrice
that's what I
Bergeron
was saying. Like,
saying
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I thought I heard something about a Bruins player. I think it's Bergeron himself. So like, he's
yeah.
calling him an asshole. So I mean, that doesn't mean.
And that's
And
like I,
I also like kind of in part of the video also like, explained more what he did as the bullying. At one point, he rubbed the lollipop inside a urinal and made the kid eat it. Like that's sadistic.
Holy shit.
That's sadistic. He called him the N word and told him to go pick cotton. Like that's messed up. That's something that you can like kind of outgrow when you're 14 if you're doing sadistic shit like that.
Yeah, inflicting pain like that and just mental torment is just I didn't know that. Okay, I really didn't know that, and that completely sways my like. This guy definitely does not. If he can't even like publicly like repent or anything, like, oh my god, I didn't know that. That's awful.
Like,
yeah, well, that's
lollipops,
also just once again, that's what there's out there. Allegedly, just there's no legal stuff. I heard that from a media source. That's
I'm
what
sure it's true. I'm
sure it's true because they're saying it publicly. It's so I'm sure that like it's factual.
Yeah, and they're minors at the time, so there might be information being protected or withheld because of that.
It said that he got he had to go to juvenile court in Ohio for all this. And got found guilty or pled guilty for doing all this. But it's just juvenile court, so like it's not like a real record or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a shitbag. I didn't know that. He's shitbag. That's just, man, kind of a loss for words.
Yeah, that's majorly fucked.
Yeah, let's transition to something that's more fun. Fantasy hockey.
Sorry.
So no worries. Like I'm glad we all like can see eye to eye here for that. It's wrong. Fantasy hockey. We got our first trade of the season. I'm gonna break it here. It's Matt Stalter here. He's traded. He's trading for Torrey Krug and Thatcher Demko. Torrey Krug's a defenseman for the St. Louis Blues. Thatcher Demko plays goalie for the Vancouver Canucks. He traded to his friend, I think his name is Andrew.
Andrew Hine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout out Andrew or Heine or whatever. Again, Matty Benier and Cam Talbot. On paper, I feel like no one really lost this trade. You guys swapped goalies in a spit swapping makeout match, and on Monday Night Football, don't know. I knew what went on over there.
Oh man, it was. I had the soldier from Big Shot Bob's, and it was GG.
I don't even know what that means. But I feel like it's kind of a minor swap. I actually thought Matty Bernier. I thought he was a good player. I feel like I might like the return on him that you got as well.
What
were you thinking when you made this trade? You just
I needed help.
Matt loves trading. Side note, Matt loves trading fans.
Yes, he does.
I have a trading obsession, and just refreshing the roster makes me pay attention to the whole league more. But like, what I was looking for in this trade, I needed a defenseman because mine were pretty weak, and I had a ton of center depth, and I was losing face-off categories. So I figured I'd get someone that could score on the power play and just get another goalie that might be all right.
And while we're talking about fantasy hockey, I'm just going to share my screen again. I pulled up I had copy and pasted like the current standings just in general in the league. So we can just, if people are watching, they have something visual here. For record, Matt's team is Mo's Nauseum, Mo Kadri, which I don't even really understand what reference you're going for. He's 1-3 right now.
Problems.
Yeah, but like Mo Nauseum, Mo Kadri, it doesn't even make sense. I was just like, he's definitely doing Mo Money, Mo Problems, but like.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of anything, but like
I understand it's referencing Mo Money, Mo Problems, but I don't get it.
Pat said a good one to me earlier. He was like Nauseum these nuts or something like that. I don't even remember. I might have just thought that right now. But yeah, Matt's 1-3. I noticed that this year a lot of people are making moves, like an uptick in roster moves, which is I think it's a good thing. I like seeing people try. I mean,
yeah, it makes for a more fun league. We have a pretty like tight like point gap right now.
Yeah, so far. Yeah, so I mean, your dad's at the top of the league, 4-0, of course.
Fucking
must have played a softie schedule. I'm 3-0-1. I tied. Who did I tie? Phil Kessel's Hot Dogs. I think I might have been Dunkel's buddy.
Yeah.
Tied him last week on like literally down to the last game. I was so mad that I didn't win. But I could have easily just as lost, so I will take the tie. Ryan, I feel like you're doing pretty well to start the season. You're making a lot of moves. You're 2-1-1.
Yeah, I'm maxing out my moves each week. Last week, I think I did it a little too early, and that kind of screwed me. I ended up tying Pat at the very end last week. I feel like I said nobody playing on Sunday, and if I had more ads, I could have maybe at least got a couple guys just to steal a couple more categories back. But it's okay. I think I'm doing pretty good right now. I'm winning. I'm beating Matt right now, 7-3 in our current matchup.
Yeah, I think I'm.
It's still
McDavid is like that. I wish I had McDavid.
True. McDavid will cover up a lot of issues, and you can address other things because he'll score so many points.
I'll give you him for $100.
I don't have that.
Start working them corners, Matt.
Got to dig in hard and fast, boys. Dump and change.
Dump and change. Honestly, I feel like a surprise is how bad Pat's team is. Like, shout out Pat, your team sucks. You're
I'm disgusted I tied him.
Yeah, I saw it. He was like, dude, I was so close of winning. I was like, yeah, but you tied. It sucks.
Yeah, you didn't win.
Yeah. I mean, really, like, I'm looking forward to this fantasy year. Once again, Sean Ward's competing for top spot. Always does. Always manages to put together a team. I would definitely like to get him on here at some point.
I'd like to hear his thoughts about his strategies on like how he manages his team, like what his focal points are.
I will say this week I play Nick, and I think I might be losing right now, but my team just got like fucked by injuries to like the goalies. I'm like, I don't even have a defenseman playing today. Like, I have an open roster spot because Tkachuk got suspended as well too. So I'm just like in like a weird limbo that I'm hoping I can squeak by a win, but I don't know if I will this week. Also, I just want to shout out Dunkel real quick. He offered me a trade 3 players or whatever, 2 players. He dropped 2 of the 3 so far. He's like, dude, it was a long shot. I thought it was pretty even. I'm like, what are you talking about, you crazy bastard?
I gotta watch my inbox.
I sent a good meme today, or was that yesterday? Oh man, it was in the Snapchat group, and it was just basically like when your buddy offers you a shit trade in fantasy, and the dude was just like yelling at another dude. I was like, yep, that feels about right. That's what I did to Dunkel.
That's exactly. No, he tries to give me shit trades all the time, and so it's to the point where like now, like every trade I just send to you guys, both of you, and just say like, how bad you trying to fuck me, and he always is.
They're never fair. He does the same thing to me.
Because he knows that I don't know like third liners from around the league, so he always tries to offer me those guys and tries to convince me how they're like playing well, and I just look at the stats. I'm like, no, they're not. So then I always send to you guys like, how bad it is.
We're all. I like the league. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
That's all right. I was gonna say with the trade Dunkel offered me, like Eichel was the 30th ranked player. Voromoka he offered, and he was like, he wasn't doing well, but he was offering me like 200 or 202 of 200 ranked plus players for like a 30 ranked player and a goalie, and I'm like, and he offered some draft compensation. I think I'd get moved up in the draft, but like not enough for me to be like, yes, this is a fair trade. I felt like immediately, I'm like, dude, this is a gross trade. This is icky.
I like the layout of our league and how it is because like everyone's at a point as a manager that they know the depth players now, so there's less like shady trades.
Honestly, and if you ever have a doubt and you're in our league, operate off of player ranks and then average stats. Like, it's kind of like the way we play fantasy hockey is how people play fantasy baseball. So if you're good with fantasy baseball, you can do it the same way where points, it's not like fantasy football where points are like, oh yeah, 200 to 200 game. It's different, and it takes a different like mindset, I feel like, because when you're looking for like points, you're looking for a player that's going to make splash like plays, or like, oh, this guy's doing hot, this guy got bumped up to this line, I want him on my team so he'll score more. It's kind of different for ours. It's kind of like, okay, he might have got bumped up, but is he going to get a lot of shots? Is he going to get assists? Is he going to get hits still? Like, it's
is
more
he
to think
get
about.
Like rotated off that line a minute into the game, you know?
Why does my watch keep doing that? I'll take it off.
Your watch loves you.
Should I credit Siri for the
You
featured
might have
guest
to.
this episode?
She's been listening to me and like, I don't know how to respond to that. It's like, you don't. That's how you respond to that. I'm definitely looking forward to this year. I want to win this fantasy league pretty bad. We upped the ante on money, so kind of motivating, a little bit of motivating. I think it's 200 total pot. No, 240, $20 each. So
See, Matt,
definitely-
that's not a bad deal now for $100 for McDavid. It's not a bad deal.
honestly though, I was
Yeah.
considering sending you the
Can I
100
pay
right
you
now.
after I win?
Shit, dude, that's a $120 profit on my
I'll give
part.
you
So
McDavid for my 22nd round draft pick
And $100.
and $100.
honestly though, hey, I can't
That's
endorse
how
this
we
as
get
the
called
as
out.
the
It's a
commissioner.
commissioner. You can't be a part of these talks.
Yeah, so you
corrupt.
guys have to do this outside of this. I can't hear it. And I mean that's kind of all I got on fantasy hockey. Definitely looking forward to this year. I don't think we're quite finished. I think Matt wanted to have his Matrix, his
Yeah,
video game talk.
Moot's Matrix.
Moot's Matrix. Oh, actually, before we jump to that, Matt, the Moot tracker, your team.
Oh yeah, did we talk
We didn't
about
discuss
that?
it last week because you weren't here, so I didn't really feel a need. But this
Yeah.
year or this week, well, I keep saying year. I swear.
The
I
Moot
like to get
tracker.
crazy.
I want to have a soundboard. So
Dude.
now it's time for Moot's tracker. Moot.
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 But the Moot tracker. Okay, so Dave. I
So
don't
for,
know if
wait,
you
before you
pulled that
start,
up.
anyone who hasn't listened before, you might have to explain a little bit. Moot Tracker was basically a bet. Matt's trying to like guess what teams are going to be top 3 in each division. Matt, if you want to explain it a little better, sorry, I will stop. You can just tell me to stop the screen. It's okay.
My bad. I didn't.
It's all right.
right.
Moot Tracker, you
so
got it pulling it up.
basically, yeah. I picked the top
Here,
3.
put it on the screen if you're trying to share your screen. Are you?
Yeah, you trying to share?
No,
screen?
no. I was just
Oh,
talking.
oh.
Dave had his stuff still up for the fantasy.
Oh.
But
Sorry. You can't talk about the Moot Tracker. There's fancy hockey on screen.
it was distracting me. My last place was really.
Hey, you're not
killing my
last place.
confidence. 9th place, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the 8
respect
teams
the
make
Hawks.
playoffs, so right.
Silly
Yes. Yeah, 8 teams and no bye weeks this year as well. So
That's
you gotta
sweet.
you gotta earn it.
So right now, my Moot tracker, basically, I need 9 teams for a push, 10 teams for Guy to go to a Penguins game in a Blue Jackets jersey, and 8. If I only get 8 teams right, I have to go to a Blue Jackets jersey or Blue Jackets game in a Sidney Crosby jersey.
You'll be wearing a salmon suit.
But right now, it's not looking too hot for me. I have 5 out of the 12 teams in playoff contention right now, and those teams are Toronto, Detroit, Carolina, Colorado, and Los Angeles Kings. But a lot of the teams right now that I picked are in the wild card spot, fighting for those top 3 spots, such as or they're barely out of the playoffs or underachieving. Penguins, Rangers, Predators, St. Louis. They might not have a single shot, so I might as well cross them off right now.
Yeah,
And then
it's not
Edmonton and Calgary also in Florida. So right
definitely
now I'm 5 out of
underperformer
12.
team.
Yeah.
Definitely some underperforming teams there. I mean, we kind of discussed this almost as nauseum at this point, but I'd like to see some of those teams step up. I'd actually love to see Guy go to a Pens game in a Columbus jersey. I think it'd be hilarious. I've just met Guy. Honestly, me and Guy don't know each other that well, but I feel like it'd be a great time to like razz him and get to know him. Hey, if we do tailgate hockey, I mean, hey, if he's interested, get the Dirty
True.
J Pod on campus, ready to interview people. Drunk Yinzers. I feel like someone would do that Yinzer style. I know Ryan talked about it for football.
Yeah, we haven't done it for football yet, but I want to bring my laptop down, just plug the mics in, and just like walk around and interview people. drunk
dude,
people.
I'm saying we can host it in the back of my truck. Just have like a desk and just like sit in the back of my truck or some kind of shit. Like,
in a
I
parking
think it'd be
garage or
fun.
something. Like
The parking lot across the street from the arena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of
Coming
those.
in.
pay for the premium parking and
Come at like 5:30 and be like, just tailgate. I mean, like seriously,
Really drunk.
yeah. Why not? I think it'd be fun. I really do think we should consider doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Matt. I mean, hey, sorry to stop your matrix here. Go for it. This is
Moot's Matrix.
segment to discuss some video games here
Moot
that we
Matrix.
all love.
okay. Well, today we'll let Dave. I'm gonna pick a game that we both played like usual. Today I'm picking Plate Up. It's a cooking roguelite simulator game, and you basically you run your own kitchen, design it yourself. Every tile you get is different every single run, and basically you play like 15 days at a restaurant and try to like get through the run without losing, and it's the replayability is really high. I enjoyed a lot about it. Dave, what do you think about Played Up?
So yeah, I think you summarized it pretty well. You and your buddies. So this is why it's pretty fun. I didn't have to buy the game. I don't own the game. I just played it with Toby, Matt Dunkel, whoever was there, ready to play. So good for that. Technically cheap, but it's fun. I like the. It's similar to I forget what the game's called.
Overcooked.
Cookout or something. Overcooked, yeah. But I think they just do it a little bit better. I'm not sure what you use to describe it, roguelike and all that. I'm not really sure exactly what that stuff is, but you like look down, top down, edit your kitchen, cook stuff like hamburgers, for example. I just think it's a lot of fun and it's cooperative. It's extremely cooperative. Um,
Very.
and I don't know what other things you have. Like how I know 1 week or the first week we ranked stuff for it.
Yeah.
I don't exactly.
Well, we talked about why you enjoyed it. I enjoy it because of the cooperative element of it and playing with like some good buddies and just like seeing how seeing how like long you could survive basically because you
It is a
could go on
survival based
forever.
game, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, and every single it's so replayable. Like you could change up the kitchen, set up the layout every time. You could change up the menu every time. There's random like tidbits thrown in that could throw you off and maybe like you'll have to pick up another person on the fly to run the kitchen. But
True.
that's
And
that's
yeah,
what I
that's
enjoyed.
one of the fun parts is the kind of random nature where it's like you might need like a stirrer or something for your kitchen, but you might not get it between levels, and it's pretty fun. They definitely have there's conflict in the game just by like playing it. Like you gotta know how to do certain things, learn how to do certain things. Like the cards that make it more difficult, I think make it fun. Um, I
It's
definitely
relatively like low like
casual.
button clicking. Like it's
Yeah,
best
just
setting to
two
play
buttons,
in.
right?
Yeah, that was the next like prompt, I guess. What best setting to play this in?
Casual for sure. I mean, you could definitely play it. Like I know Toby plays pretty. I don't want to say hardcore, but Toby plays it to win. Toby wants
Yeah.
to see how well he can do, how far he can go. I'm not really that way. I didn't buy the game. I liked the game. I'll admit it's fun, but I kind of felt maybe that like the replayability is more repetitive in a way than uh replayability. I've already played Overcooked, so I already kind of like played one of these games. And granted, I don't love Overcooked, but I do think this game's better. They're not some of my favorite games ever. I'd say. Um,
Yeah, I'd say like best setting to play it in is like a casual cooperative setting.
for sure. Yeah, but it
And
does have the range to go into more, uh, competitive as well.
yeah, and then maybe even if you want to get sweaty for it, like you can, but like it's not like a super sweaty game.
Yeah,
And
and it definitely isn't. But it's fun. It is fun.
out of five stars, like
yeah, that's tough for me. I don't want to criminally rate this too low because it is a fun game. Um, I might give it like a 3.7.
okay.
So I think I've said 4.5 for Raph. So I enjoy Raph more. I enjoy that kind of style game more. I can see why people like playing this kind of game, but a super repetitive game like this just doesn't keep my attention long enough for me to love it. So yeah, I love it.
After like 20 hours of gameplay of this one, which is kind of a lot for me, I'd give it like a 4.6 out of 5. And I gave Raft, I think, a 4.3 or 4.2. And I just like the replayability factor of play up. Like that, it's just my style of game.
Sure, this guy loves playing Fortnite.
Yeah, I like the very limited rules and change of a game. But
It's definitely easy to pick up. Like honestly, I feel like it could be a fun game. I'm talking about not Fortnite, by the way. Played up. I feel like it could be a fun game if you had like on like PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. Pull up on your TV and play with your friends drunk, like or make up some rules that you can drink to it because it's a chaotic game and it's a fun game.
And you lose a lot, like if you're bad.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean like and losing's not really a big deal. You just kind of have to restart. So I do think it's a fun game, good replayability. Maybe revisit my rating of it later, but right now I'm definitely gonna stick firm with the 3.7.
Yeah, but that's all for Moot's Matrix, and thanks for having me on,
Moots
Dave.
Matrix.
Yeah, no
Thanks
worries.
for
Yeah,
chatting. boys.
unless Mr. I'm Ryan himself has anything else, I think that wraps us up.
Oh, I want to see Matt do Orange Justice again.
I can't do the Orange Justice.
Come on, Matt.
I haven't
We need it for the
practiced.
pod. We need it for the
Is there
cutaway or whatever.
and anything else I could do?
Do a twerk on the wall.
How about I do a headstand?
Wait, give me like 5 rapid fire dabs instead.
There we go.
All right. I'll be in the background.
All right.
Yeah, Dave, you do the closing remarks as he does.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you for listening. Episode 3. I really enjoy doing this, Ryan. I'm glad you gave me medium of doing this. Oh, he's stretching. This is like this is like Whose Line. Oh my god. Oh. Matt, thanks for coming on. You're fun to talk to with hockey, and you're a goofy man. I will say. Thanks for all who listened once again. This was Puckin Dirty, and thanks for listening. That's all I got. Have a good one.
Peace.